Welcome to the Science of Gratitude podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Valerie Mukanga, and each week we'll explore how gratitude transforms our lives through powerful stories and insights. Let's dive in. Hello, friends and family. It is an honor, a pleasure to have you again today. And I'm here to welcome you once more to the Science of Gratitude podcast. And so today I have a great brother. He's truly amazing and he's going to bless us today. So I'm going to start by asking you, Brother Christian, would you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello, and thank you again, Dr. Valerie, for having me in this session. And I thank God for this opportunity of talking to you, sharing with the people of God, whoever is watching us all over the place around the world. Be blessed. This is a great time here, especially in America, a time where we are thinking about gratitude. We are celebrating Thanksgiving that will be coming in a few days. So it's such an honor for me to sit here in front of you and share how God has been thankful. So a little bit about me. My name is Christian Fumu. Fumu Sasazonda. I have a long name. Fumu Sasazonda is originated from the Congo. Based on my culture, my name seems to be long for many who's watching me, but in my culture, we have a way of asking the name. In America, they ask, what is your name? But in my culture, we define somebody through the name by asking, who is your name? Who are you? So according to that, I would say my name is Christian Fumu Sasazonda. Fumu Sasazonda stands for a king that will come to you, a divinity, or a chief, a leader, a wise man, any sort of elevation, that man that will come to you to support you for your need, and you do not have any worry to pay back. So I'm the guy sitting in front of you today. I am a father to 3 beautiful daughters. I'm a husband and I live in America, Atlanta, Georgia. So that's a little bit about me, and I believe we're going to have the time to discover more about me as we're going forward.
Explain what your name means. I'm like one who is absolutely amazed. I get so intrigued by the meanings of names. So when I meet someone, I'm like, so, okay, what does Valerie mean? What does so-and-so mean? And I'm like, okay, I see, because many times I see that, somebody's life kind of correlates to their name. Like, for example, my name means somebody who's valiant or strong.
Yes.
And I've noticed that I have so many battles to fight. And we do overcome them. So, it goes
Amen.
hand in hand with that. And I love what you said about your name as far as, being someone who would have a chief who will come and help you along the way, and you have nothing to pay back. That is something to be grateful for.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is. And I'm so grateful for that as well. And big shout out to my father. I know he passed away many years ago, but ever since we were kids, he was the one encouraging us to lift up this name, because he came in from royalty family. And that name means royalty, and we got to carry it for many generations to
So
come.
now we're going
that's
to kind of switch gear, and I'm going to ask you to please let us know about your gratitude story. We are all ears.
Awesome. So when Dr. Valerie reached out to me, she invited me to talk about gratitude. I freaked out. As many can imagine, coming in front of, social media, speaking about some stories about gratitude.
True.
There are so many things that happen every single day about gratitude. So I took some time to reach back to her. I felt honored to be invited and speak about such a tremendous topic. But at the same time, my human side was like, Christian, are you ready to speak about this? And then something that I wanted to share here, I don't know if it's a coincidence, but I do believe in the Lord, in His timing. the past for over a week.
Mhm.
Every time when I was getting on the phone to go to social
You see
media,
that?
some of the posts that I was seeing was talking about gratitude. And I
Right.
knew that the Lord wanted me to do something
Mhm.
about it. And before start telling a story about gratitude, I wanted to share with everybody who's listening to us and watching us right now. Gratitude
Yes.
is really a key to
Mhm.
success because it's, and
Mhm.
I'm speaking to spiritual people, to the people that believe in God and that can really see a sense of what I'm talking about. Because the
Yes.
Lord created us to worshiping Him for who He is. That's the main
Mhm.
goal of man creation. And then He created us in His image. So He wants us
Mhm.
to be thankful and
Right.
showing gratitude in every circumstances, no matter what, because there is a key, there
Mhm.
is a success attached to that. And today I have a story that I wanted to share with you. You might get sad at some moment. You might also get excited at some moment. But being through
Mhm.
those different journey that I'm gonna be sharing about gratitude, I want to let somebody know that
Right.
whatever you're going through, somebody
Mm.
also was there. And here is my story. The story of
Mhm.
gratitude in my life started it when I was a kid. I grew up in a family where my parents was providing enough. And the great thing
Mm.
about me going in that family, it was very different in a positive way because we grew up in a very modest,
Mm.
I want to stay away from the word poor, but it was a poor neighborhood. But for some reason, my parents was, they had
Mm.
enough to provide for better access to education
Mhm.
and every great thing that you can ever imagine. In that neighborhood,
Wow.
I was pretty much the only kids with toys,
Wow.
and friends were coming in our family to play with me. And we were the family where many
Mm.
people, every time when we had in Africa, this is the context of Africa.
Mm.
Sometime when you have
Right.
to watch sports, many family did not have
Mhm.
TV and they have to come in our family to watch TV. And then
Mm.
very earlier, I started realizing I was different. I was different because
Mm.
our house was right there in the middle of all those family. That
Mhm.
was all those family that were going to scarcity. But the Lord
Mm.
really allowed me, as young as I was, to start appreciating the
Wow.
value of the quality of life we had back then.
Yes.
And I'm very thankful about it. That's the beginning of everything. But
They don't.
there is a but because things never stay the same forever. I remember going to the equivalent of that was, I think I would say
Mhm.
that the equivalent of middle
Mm.
school over here in the United
Mm.
States. So going to middle school, things starts changing. I'm gonna release
Okay.
my age because it's important so I can place you in a timing. I was
Mhm.
back then 13, 14 years old.
Okay.
And it's been
Mhm.
30 years because I'm 44 years old.
Mm.
For those who's watching me, life really changed. So the very
Mm.
first, let's put it,
Mm.
the very first 15 years of my life was a
Right.
time of blessing, parent doing
Mhm.
successfully, access to all the great things you can
Mm.
have imagined, and then things start decreasing. My dad lost his job and he never gained
Wow.
that job until when he died. He died in 2010. And I can
Mhm.
give you an image for you to figure out a
Mhm.
family going from
Yes.
a very wild position to start declining. I am thankful because the Lord really allowed me to
Mhm.
live great moment that I call moment of success. But
Yes.
also I had to learn through
Right.
the reality of life because
Mm.
life is not always easy. Even for the
Right.
most blessed people, the most rich people you can ever
Mhm.
imagine, we've seen it. Millionaire, billionaire,
Mhm.
having every single thing they can
Mhm.
imagine, traveling the world,
Mhm.
having exciting
Mhm.
experience, living in mansions,
Mm.
driving luxury, you name it. While we saw many in the past, we saw people killing one another, the husband killing the wife or the wife killing the husband over sometimes a very
Right.
unnecessary situation or themselves taking their own
Right.
life because
Right.
they were not happy about anything, something. So life cannot be always the same. They all change in season. So that season in my family was
Mhm.
really a place where things were shaking. But I thank the Lord
Mm.
because I was born also in a Christian family. I remember being very young. I will talk about my little brother, Steve. My little brother,
Mhm.
Steve, we are 3 years apart. So he's 41 years old now. When Steve was
Okay.
kids, he didn't know how to talk. And I'm just giving you the
Yeah.
time so you can get to where this
Uh,
relationship started it. So Steve wasn't able to talk clearly yet. So
okay.
he was probably 2 years old or 3 years old. My family, I remember, I have that image of
Mhm.
us in the family singing, praising the Lord.
Mhm.
Steve was born in 1984.
Mhm.
And that moment of prayer in the family that I'm referring to
Okay.
was in 1996 or
Yes.
1997. That's
Right.
how far our relationship with the Lord, as far as family, started it. A family that come together, pray together. So my parents
Right.
knew the value
Right.
of knowing who the Lord was, Jesus, and translated to
Mhm.
us to start living it. So I grew up in a Catholic family where principle of going to church
Okay.
and growing up was very a mandatory thing. My parents the same because they came in from a Catholic family with education and all those
Mhm.
good background. So there was pretty much no way to stay away from it. But particularly, we really enjoy those moments of prayer until when
Mhm.
scarcity, when all those difficult moments start
Yes.
knocking at our door, we knew who to go to. 1997, back in the Congo, there were a big change in politics because
Right.
we had a new president who pretty much took over the power. And it was one of
Mhm.
the scariest the scariest moment
Right.
in the Congo as political things were changing. My father was in a very bad place. He was in a place where rebels were looking for money
Mm.
and any way of getting the money. And he was over one of the company in the Congo and he
Mhm.
was targeted
Mm.
for to give them access to the financial, to the money. We almost lost him already back then, but through prayer, we saw him miraculously appearing one day because as he was running, he was hiding for a couple of days in the bushes, trying to stay away from attack and stuff like that.
Mm.
He met someone that he had a long time ago that saw him that he couldn't imagine. And that person actually was the one who made an arrangement for him to escape and meet with us again
Oh my.
while we were
Yes.
really fearing about his situation. So the Lord
Mhm.
was with him, and I can remember that again until this day. The situation did not get better after he came back home. His job was pretty much taken away because the action for him to run away to save his life wasn't seen in a good way with his company because it was considered as an abandonment. So the situation was getting complicated because it was a better way to let him go without providing him all the benefit he
My
needed after
goodness.
serving for over 35 years within the same company. So we went to a moment
Mhm.
where meeting with the Lord was really something great. But every single person
Mhm.
in my family, despite that new reality we were facing, we went through what I can call a
Mhm.
pretty good
Mhm.
university. We went to private university, each one of us, and the Lord
Wonderful.
created a way of supporting us,
Mhm.
sometimes through people. I remember I made a phone call one day. I was pretty much about to abandon my second year to
Right.
university because it was so much to just pay for it. That was the very first time of my life grabbing the
Mhm.
phone and calling an uncle who was
Yes.
living in Paris back in the day, reaching out
Right.
to him for help. I wasn't educated to do something like that, but I
Mhm.
was facing a reality where that was the only option that I had. I remember when I called that uncle, he answered the phone and he told me, "You are lucky because I just got out of a deal and I make a lot of
Oh
money
my
and I have
goodness.
enough just to
Wow.
send you the money that you need to cover for this school
Wow.
year. Things that's never
Mm-hmm.
happened to me before. And I was so thankful about it. It never stopped there because the second year, I mean, the next year, because in the Congo,
Yeah.
when you go to university, we spend
Right.
5 years versus
Right.
4 years to complete your bachelor degree in America for the same equivalence.
Uh-huh.
So on that third year, I was facing the same situation. Amazingly, one time I received
Mm-hmm.
someone from the university, it was a Catholic university in the Congo, called me to let me know that they had some funding
Mm-hmm.
to support some of the students that was facing some hard time. And then they saw me singing at the chorus and having a good behavior. And then they believed that
Oh my goodness.
I was a good recipient for that funding.
Of course.
That was another situation for me to be thankful. So, uh, I really got excited about
Mm-hmm.
the support and my whole family got excited because when I started it, I didn't even know if I could finish it
Mm-hmm.
because right there in the beginning, it was just complicated. Many people told me, you guys are trying to bring your parent down because they do
Mm.
not have the mean to afford the school that you want to go to. Why don't you just do like every other young person, go,
Yeah.
looking for life by doing business or something instead of going to school because it was a path, it was a
Mm-hmm.
long path and the hope wasn't really there. Because Congo is one of the third world country, going to
Correct.
school, finishing with a
Mm-hmm.
diploma is not really a guarantee you will make it in life. But I had a hope inside of me. I never gave up. I kept on
Mm-hmm.
pushing and I was trusting the Lord. My faith was still going. I do not want to say, and I don't want anybody to take me as a perfect person because through all those moments, I was still a sinner. I was still
Mm.
someone that can do things that will not please the
Mm-hmm.
Lord. But despite all of that, I always
Mm-hmm.
knew that I had the Lord, the Creator, that was walking with me. When I was blessed with that opportunity to have
Mm-hmm.
that scholarship that came in from that organization for school, I felt deeply
Okay.
inside of me that I had to give back, but I didn't know how to
Mm-hmm.
give back until one day, that was the fourth year. One of my friends reached out to me and say that they had an opportunity for students to be a part of an organization, a company that was coming in a Congo to test computer and
Okay.
technology for the election, for enrollment and stuff like that. I was very interested, so I got enrolled into that program. We went to training and all those good stuff. The great news was several company was participating
Mm-hmm.
in that trial to see who's gonna get the market. That company
Uh-huh.
that I work for got the market to be
Okay.
implemented in the Congo and provide the equipment for the election. As a great news, everyone that participated in
Fantastic.
that was hired as a full-time associate. But I was still at school.
Uh-huh.
That was my fourth year. Still had 2 more years to complete the degree, but I couldn't leave it because it was
Mm.
so good to give it up. And to give an example, I was making from that job every single month the same
And that
amount
was
of
every
money that I was
month.
struggling to pay for the whole school
What?
year. I was making that was every month.
Of course.
And then it was a life changing experience for me. It really allowed me to travel
Mm.
that first year in almost every single part of the Congo to
Mm-hmm.
deploy equipment, to train people, to
Wow.
support my nation. I was very, very thankful. On the fifth year, I was still working in that company. My presence at
Mm.
school was a big
Mm.
challenge, but I was always finding a way to show up for my exam,
One.
and the Lord helped me to complete those exams without any problem. On that fifth years, the guy, my friends that took me to have that job, lost the job because his parent didn't want
Right.
him to go through what we were doing because
Uh,
we were traveling a lot. While other students were still at school, we were traveling. Sometimes it was taking months, four
Wow.
months out of school for me to complete the degree. So he had to give up. At the same
Oh
time, it
my
was really hard for him to pay
to
for
give.
school that year. that was a great opportunity for me to
Mhm.
step in and give back because I
Mhm.
told the Lord, now that you blessed me, I would love to give back. So I was able to give
Mhm.
back to that friend, but also to support my younger brother, who was
Mhm.
a couple years right after me in the same school. I felt so blessed that the Lord knew me and he allowed me to expand.
Mhm.
I received a lot of blessing through that action. The same company that hired us, I remember we used to
Mhm.
be over 100 employee in the company. They had to reduce the activity because the election was over
Mhm.
and they didn't have to stay in the country and continue with the operation.
Mhm.
So when they
Mhm.
were decreasing the number of people at work, I wasn't affected. Miraculously, I was there and still I worked for that company for more years until when I moved to United States. I moved in United States in 2012, and
Wow.
soon it's going to be 14 years.
Mhm.
That company took me in many places around the world, places that I never
Mhm.
visited before. I remember seeing my father. I went to Europe, for example,
Mhm.
several times. Going to Europe may now sound to be a big deal for people who are seeing
Right.
us. But I want to bring you
Uh-huh.
in the context of my reality, in the context of
Mhm.
my story. A young man still in my 20s,
Yes.
I'm traveling to Europe for a professional reason, and my
Mhm.
parent did not have to worry
Wow.
about paying any dime for me to
Mhm.
go through those journey. And I went to Europe several times, and I was meeting with people in a meeting, talking, planning, and they were really trusting me as a hope like Christian.
Mhm.
We hope that you're gonna take
Mm.
this work seriously
Wow.
to the next level. And it was a great moment of blessing. I remember today, I work in corporate America, and
Mhm.
I would say 80% of the job that I do for corporate
Yes.
America found the
Wow.
foundation in the work that I was doing several years ago. And people sometimes come to me and say, where did you learn all of this? These
Right.
are not the things that I receive any special training at work to do, but I was just simply using the experience that I have back then. And when I was doing it, I
Mhm.
didn't know why I was getting prepared
Mhm.
to learn so much thing in such a small amount of time. These are the things that I'm very thankful again today. And that's one part of it. I have several stories. That one is kind of beautiful, even though it was very shaky. But I wanted also to mention about me being very, very thankful
Mhm.
for my journey here in United States. I would say I lived in the Congo up to the age of 30.
Mhm.
When I left, I was 30 years old. And I just realized going to America would be one of the longest journey ever, a place where I can live even the
Okay.
longest because of the situation that I'm going to explain to you right now. My
Mhm.
journey here in the United States is almost the half of time that I spent in the Congo when I came. And
Mm.
I was a recently married young man. I remember my first year, the first year of wedding we celebrated here in the United States. So it just took us a couple
Wow.
months after the wedding. We traveled. We came
Yes.
to the United States. We were still
Uh-huh.
newlyweds, not knowing so much about wedding,
Mhm.
but we received a lot of encouragement from a lot of people that was good for us because
Mhm.
usually when people get
Uh-huh.
married, there are so many adjustments that have to happen.
Right.
And sometimes life can also be affected by this adjustment. And then maybe it was a
Mm.
good opportunity for us to take it to travel because that was the very first time
Mhm.
actually we were leaving home to go and live in a new place and knowing that we may not come
Mhm.
as often as
It
possible
is.
because United States is really far from the Congo.
Mhm.
And that was my first time to
Right.
be here. I've been in many places,
Mhm.
especially in Europe, in Africa, but first time in America. First time dealing with a new language like on an everyday basis. I was on the plane. If I tell you that I do not remember none of the thing the pilot was saying, you will find it funny. but that's my reality. So America was that
Mhm.
new place we came in, so many challenge to take on. And my most
Mhm.
difficult challenge was me becoming a father. And I want people that listening to me to know this is my very first time talking about my family on social media. And it's a blessing time because the Lord has blessed me
Mhm.
with a daughter, my
Okay.
firstborn has special needs. She has a lot of disabilities. But I didn't know because
Mhm.
before having that low daughter, that child of mine, Anne Marie, the Lord spoke to me. I told you about my relationship with the Lord. So now you can pretty much find it making sense. So the Lord spoke to me in a very vivid dream by saying,
Mm.
Christian, you'll be married and I will
Oh,
bless
wow.
you with a daughter.
Did you
That
already
was a
know?
couple months before
Were
we
you
got
already in
married.
a relationship at the time of the dream?
I was surprised. Well, she was my
Yes.
fiance and we have a pure relationship. We couldn't expect about,
Uh-huh.
oh, she'll be pregnant
About it.
because she got pregnant when we got married. But the Lord already
Uh-huh.
spoke to me that I'm going to bless you
Okay.
with a daughter and you will call her Anne Marie. I remember I had so much vivid dream with the Lord like that before. So I felt like I developed something
Yeah.
in my dream to start having conversation with the Lord, with the voice that I was hearing. I didn't like the name because the name was sounding very old to me. In my culture, you see our mothers, aunties having that name Anne Marie, and then I will have another Anne Marie. So I challenged the Lord. I say, why this name? The Lord never answered me. We got married. I told the story to my wife and a couple member of our family. I was excited about it. And then
Mhm.
my wife name is Christelle. I'm Christian. She's Christelle. And Christelle was pregnant. She was
Yes.
pregnant and she was pregnant with a daughter.
Uh-huh.
We were so thankful because we knew the
Uh-huh.
Lord spoke about it to us. We're going to have a daughter named Anne Marie. At 6 months of pregnancy, everything was going so well. That day we went to the office. The doctor saw us and he said, oh, you
You
guys
know.
going to have a daughter. You know that, right? We told him, we say, you said that to us last month and we know.
Mhm.
And he said something that I remember until this day.
That's
Told
what
us,
the
you're
doctor
gonna
said?
name her Marie, right? That was a part of Anne Marie's name. The doctor said that. And I look at my wife and we look at
Mhm.
the doctor, we ask him, how do you know? It's a part of her name. He
Because
said,
I kn
because I know. And that was it. I don't want to link,
uh,
yes, I don't want to link that event to what happened after, but at 6 months of
wow,
pregnancy, Anne Marie's life was threatened. She never developed normally
wow.
from 6 months to
Mm,
9 months of pregnancy. She was suffering. And we were receiving the phone call from the hospital because Christella has to leave work earlier and start going to the hospital every single week. Sometimes it was every
heartbeat.
other day because they couldn't hear the baby heartbeat. It was a very, very, very sad moment. I'm a guy with emotion and I can cry. I
Mhm.
can be happy.
Mhm.
It doesn't bother me
Right.
to see myself crying because I feel like it's a normal feeling. But I marry a soldier. I marry a strong woman
Wow.
who do not express those feelings, especially when she was younger. Today, my wife can tell me, oh, when we were watching that movie, I was crying, but since she's a soldier, she cannot just show it. And especially, she want to make sure she stays the soldier to me. She don't want me to see that. So
Right.
funny enough, Christelle today can have emotions just the way I used to have. I broke down, but I saw Christelle
Mm.
going to the room that we prepared for the baby. She was crying. We went back to the Lord with a lot of, we really sought the Lord for support during that hard moment, the 3 months
Mhm.
that we had to expect Anne Marie to come to us. The doctor called me one day and said, hey, Christian, I know you, the
Mhm.
father, and I spoke to you several times about this child.
Mhm.
We noticed a couple liquid in her brain, and her brain looks like it's sliced.
Mhm.
And usually when babies are developing in their mom's womb, at this stage, she should have a brain constitute like a unified organ but yours is different.
Mm,
In your kid, it's sliced, and we don't know why it's that. So we want you to allow us to do an abortion so we can stop the life of the baby, because we
mhm,
cannot promise you uh, how the kid's going to be. All we know as doctor, that is not a normal sign. So she's gonna have a lot of medical condition. We don't even know if she's gonna survive. I remember
mhm.
the heaviness of
Right.
knowing the truth. And the
Mhm.
truth was, the Lord spoke
Agree.
to me.
Yes.
I will bless you with a daughter. You will name her Anne Marie. And I was facing me, such a small creature, to stop the
Mm,
life of somebody that the Lord promised me to have. I wasn't capable. I told the doctor, I say,
mhm,
doctor, I'm not going to allow you to do that, because I know that this
mhm,
child is my children, is my
mm,
child no matter what. He was like, you are courageous, man. Well, we're gonna do the
mm,
way you want it. Whatever that will happen after, it won't be my problem. We
mm.
say yes. We're gonna go in that decision. And the guy continues, say, the reason why I say that, because you are young, you can have other kids. I don't know why you're
Mm.
insisting and putting your life into so much challenges. I knew what I accepted
Right.
it because the Lord spoke to me. I couldn't say no,
Mm,
even though the situation was
mm,
appearing to be the opposite of what a good promise can be.
mhm,
And Mary was born Monday after Easter. So her middle name, we also gave it to her according to that moment. And to
mm.
me, it was
Ye
such a big sign. It was Easter to me means life. And Anne Marie was born
Wow.
deprived from all kind of sign of life,
Wow.
very weak baby. She was a 10 pounds baby, born a term, moving just slightly, so quiet. Baby, usually when they
Wow.
are born, they cry. She never cried. She was just very quiet.
Mm,
It was so sad. It was a very, very, very sad event. So when we left the
mhm,
apartment where we were living, people saw my wife being pregnant. And when they saw us leaving that day, they probably knew she was
mhm.
expecting to have a baby. But Anne Marie pregnancy at 9 months
Wow.
was
Mm,
appearing to be like a 5 month pregnancy, like a very tiny pregnancy. So she had to stay at the hospital according to the procedure back there in the Congo, so she can be taken care of at the NICU. She wasn't a premature baby, but she was so tiny. She needed some special treatment to help her through
mhm,
the situation she was still facing, especially with the
mm.
brain being sliced. It was such a sad moment.
Wow.
We didn't have any courage to go back to the house where we were living. So we took a
Mhm.
decision to book an hotel not too far from
Like
the
oh,
hospital
right.
so we can be doing those
Mhm,
travel back and forth to go see our baby. And I couldn't even realize that I was a father because um I felt like I believe many people may find themselves in this story, your first
mhm,
baby. You just have to learn that now
mm,
your whole nature has changed. You become a parent now. Then we received some counselor that came to us and say, hey, you guys are
mhm,
Christian. We know that you are going through a very hard situation right now because nobody are gonna accept such situation. But it's better for you to go back to your house
mm,
so you can pray and claim the presence of God
mhm.
because of the baby, that special
Right.
person that you're gonna receive here. So we took that. We took that with faith.
Yes.
The same way we accepted to become Anne Marie's parents. We went home and everybody was asking us,
Mm.
so
Yeah.
you should have
To
a baby.
answer.
What happened? Where is the baby? It was hard for us. I came in from a culture where people will be
Mhm,
asking you those questions because you belong to the
mm,
community. It was hard for us to give answers. So we went through some very tough time. It took us about 3 months. Three
mhm.
months in the Congo, 3 months before Anne Marie was born, 3 months when after Anne Marie was
Wow.
born, after Anne
Mhm,
Marie was born, and then we came in America. Finally, America. That was such a relieving news because I knew that I'd
mhm.
never been in this place before, but from what I know about the United States, this should be
Yes,
such a
you have better
small
health care.
problem because she's gonna be taken care of. So we came over here
Right.
and Mary was 3 months. I mentioned to you I never been a father before. So the baby was 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months.
Mhm.
We came in America living with
Mhm.
family, and I bless the Lord for that family. They've been such a blessing for us. For a whole year, we stayed with them, trying to navigate the society and know what to
Mhm.
do and learning the language, the culture, and all of that.
It's amazing.
They've been a very big support system for us.
Mhm.
That family, they were older, much
Mhm.
older than us. That was my wife, uncle, and wife. They say, we are
Mhm.
noticing something that is not right with your children, with your baby, because baby at 6 months should
Mhm.
be acting this way. She couldn't hold her head. Head control was a problem. She couldn't
Mhm.
crawl. She couldn't sit down.
Right.
For us, she was just a baby because first
Mhm.
time being a parent. That was the beginning of my story. So we went to the emergency that day because they say we
Mhm.
cannot be just sitting and watching this. You guys need to go to
Mhm.
the hospital. We never spoke to them about the detail of what Anne Marie had to go through before coming there because, as I said, going to America was to me the solution.
Yes.
I don't have to worry about this
Uh-huh.
because the Lord got us. This child gonna be good. But I was partially not correct.
Mhm.
So we went to the hospital, Children's Hospital of Atlanta. We stayed there for the first day when we came in. The sign they saw, they wanting us to stay at the hospital. They say, you guys gonna be here for a moment because this is a very, very serious situation. Remember, none of the thing that the
Because of
doctor was saying,
language.
we were not listening. We were not hearing nothing. We needed interpreter,
Right.
yes, language barrier. They have to bring interpreters to tell us what was going on. I cry with all my body when I knew,
Mhm.
when we learned that this baby gonna have disability for the rest of her life unless
Mhm.
the Lord change it. My whole faith was shaken. Because for what I know, even though in the Congo they mentioned that to us,
Baby.
I wasn't seeing any disability in my baby. I was seeing her acting, well, this is just a baby. She's 3 months, 4 months. But that
Mhm.
day I realized I was facing a real situation.
Mhm.
And there is no one in my
Mhm.
family, in both family, my wife or my family,
It's-
no one ever experienced having a child with special needs.
Mhm.
And the type of need she was facing was just a lot. I was
Mm.
so overwhelmed with all sort of bad news. Different doctor following on Anne Marie, none of them was telling us
Mhm.
something that would make us feel good. So Anne Marie was diagnosed here to have what they call cerebral palsy, which is kind of a general diagnostic, but she was
Mhm.
actually affected according to the exam we did here to a virus that has a 1 over uh, 30,000 or 300,000 proportion of people like ability of happening. Like one out of
Yeah.
300,000 people may catch that virus that disturb
Mhm.
Anne Marie life. And when it happened to an adult, you may not feel it
Mhm.
because you may just sneeze or have those cold symptoms and that's it. But to
Mhm.
babies, especially when they are
Wow.
still in development, that can
Mhm.
create handicaps. So we don't know where it happens. We don't know where it came from. But Anne Marie was a victim of that. And us being parents, I was a victim. I felt like, Lord, I don't think I need to stay alive and face this adversity for the rest of my life as long as Anne Marie is with me. I feel
Mhm.
like you can take me because I was devastated. I remember stepping away, going to the chapel, praying. I was crying. I felt inside of me like stand up because the life
Wow.
of that baby depended a lot on you as a parent. The Lord wasn't ready to receive me. He wanted me to go back and face my reality
Yes.
because I still had to provide as a parent. Since that day I stand up, I wasn't able to cry anymore at the hospital. But
Mhm.
after that event, oh my Lord, I cried a lot. So I came in from Africa from having a nice job, traveling, going all the
Yeah.
time to Europe, coming home, which is a
Right.
fancy type of life for whoever knows the context of Africa and who may see that
Mhm.
That it might just sound to be normal here, but I'm telling you, that was fancy. So moving in America, I couldn't find a job. My credential, my whole education, we couldn't even use it. That was the very first time of my job to have a job, the very first time of my life to have a job that I will never take when I was home. I found a job of selling.
Wow.
I was a sales associate at Macy's. That was my first job in America. So very hard
Right.
because my English wasn't perfect. I remember I went through so many interviews. The question that I was receiving over the phone, I wasn't understanding people's accent. I wasn't getting it. So I was appearing to be unqualified every time when I was receiving those interviews. The people that we were living with were like, why you cannot find a job? They couldn't just know how hard it was for us. Until one day, I was lucky enough, it was during the holiday of that same year. And Marie was home now. We knew that that was, um, that was a hard situation now. Baby can't wait. So many programs start following up on us to follow up on Anne Marie. A lot of phone call, a lot of hospital appointment, overwhelming life. Then I had a job. I went to the interview. It was funny. That lady that
Okay.
interviewed me, the manager, she was from Nigeria. My people from Nigeria, God bless you. That lady went through a series of questions and she knew the easiest answer for me was what's your name and stuff like that. And other than that, I couldn't even express myself. A bunch of questions she asked me, I was throwing out yes and no just randomly. So I can fill in for those answers. And I can tell she felt kind of discouraged, but at the same time, she wanted to help me. She said, you dress nice and I want to have you here. I went home. I told them, I said, hey, I got a job. It was an exciting moment. Actually, it
Right.
wasn't something that I should be excited about because of who I was. I was running project as a project manager. I was hiring people working for me and I had family depending on me. And
Don't
now
play.
I had to serve by
Right.
selling shoes. I'm not trying to minimize that job because every job is a value. But the Lord used that opportunity to show me that every single job that you may do is important for your freedom, for your to keep you away from bad ideas or things that may make you feel terrible. That job wasn't paying me much, and I'm gonna release how much I was getting paid.
What year was that?
$8.50 per hour. I felt
My God.
blessed. That was in 2012,
Mm-hmm.
going 2013. But to me, I was best. The very first year, I made $18,000. I was like, oh my God, this is a lot of money. But I was extremely poor.
Thank you for listening to the Science of Gratitude podcast. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe, share it, and leave us a review. Your support helps us keep spreading the power of gratitude. And until next time, stay grateful. God bless you.